I got to a point where I wanted to kind of like take some time for just myself and my family and just kind of step back and really like rethink what I wanted to do because like what ended up happening is I just wasn't trying hard. You know, I just wasn't like, I wasn't doing the stuff that I knew I could do. I was in my own way and I don't,
Yeah.
I needed to like kind of reset.
Was that you think that was because you didn't have the experience or the time?
I think after years, a decade of being a traveling, like, enterprise level, high pressure sales guy that had to hop a flight several times a week and
It's a
entertain
grind, man.
customers and schmooze and go to $1,000 dinners and drink whiskey until 3 a.m. Like, I became a guy who ate huge dinners and went and drank whiskey until 3 a.m. because I had to, you know what I mean? Like, I had to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that
part
was
of
the
it.
job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And s a decade of that, I just got run down, dude. I was like 240 pounds. I wasn't sleeping well. I just wasn't healthy, man. And and like, there's a lot of that like I wasn't working out. I wasn't running. I mean, my just nothing, right? And my testosterone was low. Whatever. Like, just, I just didn't feel good. When you don't feel good physically, it's super hard to be in a mentality of like hunger and growth and
Yeah.
what's
Because 'Cause you're
next.
just trying to survive
I'm
for the
just trying
next
to like
thing.
get through the
Yeah.
day so I can go to bed and go to sleep and wake up the next day and then make it through so that I can go to sleep again, you know? And I got really good sleep, sometimes, but I'd be waking up at, 11, I'd be waking up at 2, I'd be going to, the bathroom at 4 a.m. and then I'd be on my phone from 4 a.m. to 7, just, reading the news and playing chess and checking my email and I don't know. And I just it was me, it was me. It was me. The problem was me.
Matt and I first met at a place called Cario. We were building and selling medical software to independent practices. During this time, I was working on the product and design teams, and he was working on the sales side. And what I learned during this time about Matt was two things. One, that he's exceptionally good at his job. And the second thing is sales is really, really hard. The thing that people don't realize is when you're selling something, especially a commodity that may be unknown, you have to build trust. And in order to do that, you have to be able to invest the time in building relationships. That investment at times can be very costly. And there's many nights where you're staying up late, you're going to dinners, and maybe you're drinking a little too much in order to build that trust. And over time, that cost takes a toll on you, whether it's with your family or your health or your mental well-being. What I love about our conversation today is Matt doesn't hold back when he talks about the accountability of himself and where he wants to be now that he's at this inflection point as a father, as a husband, and as a person who has a couple of years under their belt doing a bunch of different things. The conversation we have today is super fun. We go from his aspiring career of being a rapper to now being an entrepreneur in the AI space. And I think the greatest thing about this conversation is how frank he talks about his reflections and where he wants to go and what he wants to be. So here's my conversation with Matt Kelly. Let's get it. Welcome to Life Between Titles. I'm your host, Savan, and today I've got my good friend, Matt. Matt, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm stoked, man. We've known each other for many, many years off and on. Uh, as it happens, life gets in the way of a lot of these things that we want to do in terms of our professional career. But for the people that don't know us, Matt, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you live now? Where'd you grow up? Give me a little bit of that background.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah. And we obviously we go way back to a startup we were at a long time ago called Cario, but we both been in
Yep.
a bunch of different places since then. Now, man, I'm a dad, dude. I'm a
Yeah.
dad and I've got
Crazy.
2, beautiful children that I just feel so lucky to have and be around. And I'm between titles right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When I started to really like see what you were doing with this podcast, I thought, you know what, I fit this. I got some cool stuff that we could talk about. I think of what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But I've been
For sure.
working for a couple of different companies. I've had a bunch of different titles and responsibilities,
Right.
um, and now I'm just exploring the world.
Yeah. That's fantastic, man. Matt, where did you grow up? Where were you born?
Yeah, so I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I still live.
Nice.
I grew up in a town called Fortville, which is a little smaller town. Um,
Yeah.
Late 80s, throughout the 90s, Fortville was the best possible place you could want to grow up, I think. Had a
What
lot of
was it
fun.
like? What was it like?
It's a rural town, so there's a lot of like cornfields, agriculture,
Yeah.
livestock. A lot of the kids that go to the high schools in the area, like they're in 4-H and stuff like that. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
I ran around in the woods. I got dirty in the creek. I learned how to hunt. Um,
Yeah. Nice.
that kind of thing. But I went to a high school that had more of a suburban like economy around it, right? And so
Hmm.
all the kids that I started to go to high school with were in a little bit of a different. I lived over the county line in a little bit of a nicer area, Hamilton County, Indiana, which is like the wealthier part of the suburbs of Indianapolis, the north side.
Okay.
And I was around a bunch of kids that like their parents, were white collar. They had, interesting tech jobs. They traveled a lot. They had a little bit of a different like way that their lives worked. That was
Yeah.
different than mine because my parents were both blue collar and
Right.
gave me a great life. We never wanted for anything at all. But like, like my dad wasn't hopping on a plane every week to go somewhere.
Right. Right.
Um, so, but yeah, that's me. That's where I'm from.
That's awesome, man. What was your prized thing that you've hunted as a kid? Like if you could remember that one thing, what would it be? Would it be like pigeons or like what was that? A deer? Like what was your prized possession?
Man, uh, I had a grandma that was like really into Native American stuff. And like she
Okay.
told me that we were Native Americans, but like it was like not true, We like,
God,
like we
grandma.
like she would like make up all these like tales about being Native Americans and stuff. And I was really into it. So we would like make like bow and arrows. I literally grew up making bows and arrows. And
Nice.
I never like killed anything, but the whole process was fun to do. And then like
Right.
that led into like spearfishing, trying to spearfish.
Oh yeah. That
And
looks
in
awesome.
Yeah, in Indiana, a lot of the ponds around here have these huge carp. And
Yeah.
these carp just like sit. They're huge and fat and ugly. And they just like they come up for sunshine when it's sunny in the summer, but they're huge. They're like 2 feet long. And so, I never actually got one, but we would stand there on the shore all day, just to like try,
Yeah.
uh, so that was fun. I don't know. I grew up. I mean, I've hunted deer, I've hunted boar, I've hunted other stuff, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
I stopped because it just became gross, kind of like like once you get something, you've got to like do a bunch of messy, gross, smelly things in order to get it on your table, and I just like
It's funny, like, the more I learn about that whole universe, the more interesting it gets because I always associated, people that loved firearms. I have a lot of friends that have tons of firearms and love guns with being good hunters, but most of them fucking hate hunting. They're
yeah,
just
it
like, dude,
sucks
it's a
actually.
chore, man. It sucks.
Yeah,
But I like to shoot my guns.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
but like growing up, I was always like, oh man, you own guns? You must be a good hunter then. It's like, no, that's
yeah,
not the case, man.
yeah. I joined 4-H, but I didn't have any like animals or you know what I mean. Like I didn't have any like skills that
Right,
typically
right.
people would have in
You
4-H.
would
So
die on the show alone then, right? Like you
yeah,
would be
no,
like
I
the
would.
first
Well,
one.
well, what I learned in the 4-H catalog of like skill, 4-H is this. If you're familiar, it's an organization that helps teach kids skills.
Right.
and you go through this
It's
catalog and what
Like Boy Scouts, sort of.
Boy Scouts, but like it's like you produce something and then you whatever you produce, like it could be gardening and your
Oh, okay.
skill is growing vegetables, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
what you
Got you. I
do
got
is
you.
you grow the vegetables and you bring them into the county fair and you show off your vegetable. And then like somebody wins
Nice.
a blue ribbon and then you
Yeah.
take your prize winning, eggplant to the state fair and then you
Yeah.
compete against all the kids in the state and you just become like this skilled whatever you choose. Well, my
Right.
skill was marksmanship. I looked in the catalog. I was in
Oh,
4th grade. I
yeah.
looked in the catalog and it said marksmanship, shoot guns. I said,
Yeah.
let's do that.
That's the one.
So,
Right.
they took me to a skeet shooting range. I was 10 years old. They handed me a shotgun. They taught me how to use it. They taught me how to be safe. They taught me how to make sure it's
Nice.
safety, not to point it anywhere. It was very, very strict on like disciplined gun safety, but I shot guns
Yeah.
every day of the week. And it
Yeah.
was it was pretty cool.
Wow. Were you good at it? Like, did you win any prizes or anything like that?
When I was 10 years old, I could shoot 19 out of 25 clay pigeons.
Holy smokes! I couldn't even do that in duck hunt, bro. That was hard on the
I
Nintendo
got I
system.
got massive the blue ribbon that I won was for the, bruises on my shoulder, from the shotgun. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh man. Oh
Something.
man, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what was high school like? You told me that it was more affluent than where you grew up. How did you
Sure.
adjust to that? Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. I dropped out of sports, pretty I wrestled for a long time. I
Yeah.
played football. I played sport. I'm not an athlete. I would never claim to be an athlete at all, but, like,
Right.
I played. I had fun, but, like, I dropped out
Yeah.
of sports in high school, and I became more of, like, I was in choir. Um, I was more of, like, a personality person. I was a people person. I was a kid amongst all of the people,
Yeah.
very, very, diplomatic. But I didn't I got a job, I worked, I had a car early. You know what? One fun fact, here's a clip for the shorts that you produced from this, is
Yeah.
I had spinning hubcaps on a Ford Pinto, and I had a sub in my trunk, and I would
Yep.
drive around, and I would stop, and I'd be playing, a song called "Riding Spinners" by 3
Yeah.
Six Mafia,
Yeah. 3 6.
and I would stop, and they would spin, and I
Did they
mean
light up too? Did they light up?
no, they didn't light up, but that would've been
Oh,
cool.
okay.
I would've done it. I would've done that if if they had those, but I bought
Yeah.
them at Pet Boys. They were like 25 bucks for 4. Like,
Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious. How did you get that inspiration? Like, I guess that's a good segue. Like, what inspired you when you were a teenager, man? What did you get into?
man, I liked music a lot. Like, I my friends and I, we would, like, freestyle rap a lot,
Yeah.
and we would have, like, CDs with a bunch of, like, beats and instrumentals that we were downloading off Napster, and then we'd burn it onto a CD, and we'd ride
Yeah.
around in, like, one of our cars or one of our, like, parents' cars. My mom let me borrow her van. It was, like, a full-size Astro van, and we would
Oh,
pile, like,
nice.
8 dudes in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Drive around, getting into trouble. Not real trouble, but,
Right. Looking for adventure.
trying to have fun.
Right.
And And the whole time we would freestyle rap, and it was really bad,
Yeah.
but I was into that. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you go to college, or what'd you do after high
I
school?
did. I did. I went to Purdue, for 2
Nice.
years. Yeah, I
Nice.
liked it. I got a really good score on my SATs.
Okay.
Not a good, like, GPA. I think I was, like, a C student. I mean, I didn't really I would, like, not do my homework, and then I'd show up and just, like, get an
Do
A
the
on the
test.
test, and then
Yeah.
just be like, I'm just not gonna do I'm not gonna do the homework, so,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. I
Yeah.
was the opposite, man. I bomb tests. I'm so bad at taking tests, but I can definitely put in the time to do the homework. I don't remember getting a good SAT score. I think back in our day, what was the perfect score? Like a 1600?
16. Yeah, 1600.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't even remember what I got. Probably
I
like
mean,
11, 12,
yeah.
maybe 13. I don't even know.
It's
It was
good.
enough to
Yeah.
get into a few schools, but not like the top cream of the crop schools.
Yeah, I didn't get a 1600. I'm just saying that's the only reason I got into Purdue. Like, I volunteered
Yeah.
at a hospital, and I would, like, take people around on their wheelchairs and stuff because my
Yep.
mom worked there, and she, like, just got me a volunteer job. So on my essay to Purdue, I was like, "Look, I'm a good kid. I'm a C student. I got a good SAT score. I volunteer at the hospital. I wanna be a Boilermaker."
Yep.
I sent in all of my stuff, like, day 1, like, literally the first day that they were even, like, accepting them at all
Right.
for the year before that I was gonna go, and I
Yeah.
just lucked out, and they, so
It's funny, dude. I remember Cario. We had a lot of Boilermakers there, right? Like you
yeah,
went there. I think Corey went there. He played
yeah,
football there. A
yeah,
couple other people
there's a
went there. I
bunch.
can't
Yeah,
remember who
Scott
else.
Kramer went there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's interesting, man. I never actually put that connection together until you started talking about it now.
yeah.
What was Purdue like? Was it pretty intense, like as a school?
No, only because I didn't try hard. What I did
Damn,
was
the same.
I joined a fraternity, like,
Yeah.
step 1, join fraternity,
Yeah.
step 2, be in a fraternity,
Yeah. Right.
you know?
Uh,
Uh, but, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't I don't know, like,
right.
I was taking all kinds of cool classes and just, like, learning and then, like, not actually I wouldn't actually, like, complete the class, and so I failed a couple classes, and
Yeah.
I ended up leaving Purdue really because, like, being in a fraternity is amazing. I had a lot of cool people that I met there and a lot of relationships that have lasted my whole life.
Yep.
Shout out to Theta Chi people. If any of you see this and you're my
Yeah.
brother from Theta Chi, we're brothers for life, right? Like, dropped
Right.
out, dude. I dropped out because it was like, "This sucks," you know? And so,
Mhm.
I went to a school called Full Sail University, which is in Orlando.
What is Yeah, what is that?
Full Sail is like it's a for-profit school, so I mean, you're
Okay.
buying a degree, but it's intense. So it's like you have to go every class is 4 hours a day, 6
Okay.
days a week, and you can't be more than 15 minutes late or they mark you absent. If you're absent
Wow.
twice, you're out. And so,
Wow.
like, in the program that I was in, it was, audio engineering,
Mhm.
so, like, how to run a studio, how to record bands and whatever, and, like, we started with, like, 250 kids in the class, and we graduated with 26.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, because they people just can't, I mean, it's like, they will accept anybody as long as you're willing to sign that you want a loan to pay to go there, right? It
Right.
was 60K a year. I was done in
Wow.
12 months. I had
Yeah.
a associate's degree in, audio engineering, and I
Mhm.
recorded a bunch of music. I recorded a bunch of cool I learned how to make beats. I was a rapper. My name was Mean Matty Green.
Oh, yeah.
Um
I remember this. Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah. And it was I mean, I performed I had, like, shows. Like, I went to, festivals. I had songs that people knew and liked. I made no money. Like, I didn't make a single
Mhm.
dollar.
Yep.
Like, not one. Right?
How did you decide, like, to become an audio engineer at was it Full Sail?
Yeah, Full
Um,
Sail.
like,
It's in
how did you
Orlando.
decide that?
Yeah, so I had a buddy that went there, and a
Okay.
couple buddies that went there, actually, and, they were in the same boat. Like, they tried a 4-year school, and they
Yeah.
just left earlier and went down here, and then they had, like, multiple programs, so, like, they were all condensed programs, so I chose the associate's program, but, like, I had other friends that were down there that were going for a bachelor's degree that took 2 years, a master's degree, which took 3 years. But it's the same kinda thing, it's 6 days a week, I mean, sometimes you got 2 or 3 classes, like, there are some months where you're going 12 hours a day back to back to back. Yeah. And you can't be late, dude. You can't be late, and you can't miss class, and you can't skip class, and you can't leave class and, like, come back.
Did they
Anyway,
did they did they make you pay for it upfront?
yes.
Is that
Yeah.
how okay, so
Yeah,
you're like,
Sally
"I've
Mae.
already paid for this, I better get my ass to school."
Yes. And if you failed, they would re-enroll you and, like, just charge you more, you know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, "Okay, now that's another 20K if you wanna get back in."
Right, dang.
Yeah.
Dang, that's intense,
Yeah.
man. What was
Yeah.
a typical class like? I've never talked to somebody who has an audio engineering degree. What was it like? Like, what do you guys end up doing?
Yeah. I was there in 2007. Here's an example that might be interesting. I was there in 2007, and at the time, RSS feeds had just been, like,
Right.
popularized and
Yep. Yep.
sent out into the world as, like, a way to syndicate, digital media.
Yeah.
MySpace was pretty big, but, like, people weren't really doing podcasts on MySpace pages. They were just uploading
Right.
audio clips and
Yeah.
designing their pages with HTML and making them look cool or whatever, but, like, SoundCloud launched the year that I was there.
Yep.
Anyway, RSS feeds were just invented. So I had this whole lecture, this like series of lectures for a week on just podcasts. And it wasn't even a thing that like existed yet, right? It was
Yeah.
like this is the next thing for how people are going to create audio, design content to be syndicated and for people to subscribe to with an RSS feed, and it will be auto delivered to them every time that you drop a new episode. And so they're
Yeah.
essentially signing up for your channel. And so
Yep.
you have an opportunity to brand it, right? And so, like, I learned how to make a podcast before podcasts really actually, like, literally were on the market. Like,
Right.
iPhones didn't exist yet. I think
Right.
iPhones were probably, like, invented in 2007. I don't know. I forget when
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It just came out. Yeah. It just
Yeah.
came out. I
Um,
what's interesting is I think around that time, I was working at a startup in New York called Blog Talk Radio,
yeah.
and they were the only blogging podcast platform, and like they actually had a system online where you can call in with your phone and you could take people's calls, and it would do the RSS stuff. But yeah, that was a new frontier across the board because I was thinking at the time, even when I was working there, I was like, who the hell's gonna listen to me talk?
Yeah.
And here we
Yeah.
are, 20
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
I made a podcast, which was, at the time, it was just, remixes, so I would take, like, Lil Wayne beats,
Yeah,
and then I'd
yeah,
go to my buddy's, studio or, apartment in his closet of his bedroom at night, and we would record these remixes of me
right,
just freestyling on Lil Wayne beats, and then that was
right,
that was, like, episode 1, "Leather So Soft," episode 2, "Hustler Music."
right,
Like,
right,
you know,
right, right.
and we would just do them, and, they all sucked. It was stupid. In fact, once I got a real job, so in 2009, I got into SaaS. I started
Yeah,
working for a marketing, technology company, but, uh, within months of working there, it, like, came out that I was a rapper. Like, my friends called me Mean Matty Green. People found my Facebook, like, they found all this stuff online.
yeah,
And I was super embarrassed. Like, it actually, like, because people, like, made a joke about it, and I was serious, and so when people were laughing about it and making it, because it's a funny thing. I mean, you meet a serious guy that wears a tie to work, and he says he's a rapper, like, you giggle a little bit. I mean, it's like, "Oh, ha, ha, that's cool," like, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 for sure.
But because I was embarrassed by it, like, I deleted my Facebook.
Oof.
I'm not on Facebook to this day
Yeah,
because I
I'm not either.
deleted it.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Yeah, I deleted my MySpace, I scoured every database, I deleted my SoundCloud, I deleted my YouTube videos of my concerts, purely so that nobody could ever discover that I was actually Mean Matty Green.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to that story towards the end. But before we get to that, tell me about sort of your mentality when you were finishing up your degree, your audio engineering degree. Like, what did you want to do with your life after that? Like, what was your plan I would imagine this is like early 20s, right? Like maybe
Yeah, I was
early mid 20s. Yeah.
21,
Yeah. What was your train of thought? Like, what did you
22.
tell your folks you were going to do after you
My
paid all
folks
this
were
money for
great.
this degree?
My folks were great about it. Like, they were so supportive and, like,
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome,
positive,
man.
and, like,
That's awesome.
they believed in me, you know?
Yep. Yep.
And, like, I was, I don't know. I was, I felt like I could do anything, which
Yeah.
I feel like I still feel that way. But, like, at the time, I feel like I could do anything, and I was like, I thought that I was, like, this special person, which, like, I still do kind of. And
Yeah.
and, like, I thought that, like, no matter how good I rap or how bad I rap, like, I enjoy this, and
Mhm.
it's clearly, like, good at it, kind of, and I'm just gonna get better, and this world is taking off and, like, whatever, and Sally Mae started so anyway, so I was doing it, right? I, like, worked at a studio. I went to the studio every day. I, like,
Yeah.
vacuumed and, like, wiped down the glass and organized the chords and, like, for free, just so I could be there, just so I could be at the studio. And I was making songs and I was doing shows for free and I was like being a rapper, I guess. And I had like a part-time job as a waiter at an Italian restaurant where I would just like try to sell as much like Chianti and clams as I
Yeah.
could,
Was it
money.
Olive Garden?
No, no, it was a place called Goodfellas, and it was like
Okay.
brick oven, New York style pizza, but it had like a nice restaurant attached to it too. So we were doing like, $30 bowls of pasta and really nice wine and like really nice scotch and like, so anyway, I'd like talk up the alcoholics and have them come back and just get boozed up on my tab, right? Um
Man.
I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know. But anyway, so my Sally Mae started calling my parents' house because I lived there,
Okay.
right? I lived with my parents and like
Yeah.
they were leaving voicemails, hey, you're 6 months late on your payment for your student loan. Like, we're gonna, you have to pay this. Please call us back. And I was just ignoring them. Like I was deleting them and whatever. And my dad, he was like, hey, look, like, I'm not gonna pay your student loans. I'm not gonna make a single payment. Like these loans, if you believe that this is your life and this is what you want to do, and you sign for these loans and you want to do this, you're paying your loans, and that starts with you actually making money. You have to actually go make actual real money,
Yep.
right? And I
Yep.
was like, yeah, okay, I guess, Uh,
Oh,
and,
man.
and one of my fraternity brothers from Purdue reaches out to me. He was like, he liked to rap and freestyle, and he thought it was funny that I was doing it. And
Uh-huh.
he just got a sales job at a SaaS company, and he was like, "Dude, you could do this. All I do is just freestyle on the phone every day. Somebody answers, I gotta have a on the spot conversation where I just find any way to get past them to actually talk to the guy I gotta talk to, right? And then once I talk to that guy, I just gotta make up any reason that I can get him to book an appointment. And, it's just I wing it the whole time. I got a script, but, like, I have to wing it." And he was like,
Yeah.
"You like, I mean, you could do that." And I was like, fine. That's if that I guess, I'll do an interview, and yeah, I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of parallels to what you're doing now in your world. I mean, not even now, but like, even back to the Cario days and Salas days and,
Yeah.
Salesforce days where you are really sort of like trying to get people to understand these concepts and values even before you understand them completely. And like, I think the thing that's interesting to me, especially about artists, is there's that fine line between hubris and confidence, right? Like, and you've got to straddle that line, and then you also have to know when the fuck to get off because it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I've already put 5 years into this thing. When do I say, okay, that was a valiant effort? Like for you, when was that? Because like you'd already gone to school for this. You're now trying to make a career out of it. Like, how did you know
Yeah.
when it was over?
I started to open my eyes to how people saw me. And at the time, the way that people sort of saw me is this like an entertaining thing that just had very little value and very little potential. I mean, people just didn't like take it seriously that like this was
Yeah.
a choice that I made, no matter what my songs sound like. Like I wasn't bad. Like I'm downplaying it like I was some kind of joke. Like it wasn't. Like I was actually like you know, but nobody cares. Nobody cares, right? I mean, I was never gonna be like like Drake, for instance. Drake, right? He had just done his first like 3 singles in like 2008 or something.
Yeah. Those mixtapes, his
Yeah.
mixtapes dropped. Yeah, for
That
sure.
was the same year I was rapping. Like, dude, I was rapping on stage in front of people when that shit dropped. I was not gonna win versus Drake. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
at some point, like I started to see that people saw that, and like that's what people saw when they talked to me. Didn't matter how exuberant I was in my explanation that I'm incredible and you should listen to my music. They didn't care, right? It was like, it's okay, you know. Um, but I definitely knew that I didn't want to let my parents down and default on my loans and whatever. And once I tried the sales job, I realized that like I'm just as good at this. And all I got to do is like be present and care and try, and I can figure out anything. I can figure it out as long as I like intentionally choose to not get frustrated, not feel like a failure, not be afraid to try something I've never done. And then I just figure stuff out step by step. I might not do it the right way. I might do it like now, dude, I'm about to set up this claw bot, bro. I'm about to
Yeah.
set this claw bot
Nice.
today.
You probably bought the
I'm
last fucking Mac in the world, bro. Those are going like hotcakes.
eBay, bro, all day. I'll get you 10. I'll get you. Listen, man. I'll buy you 10. I will set them up for you, and I will ship them to you. Okay,
Hey, you know what? We might do an episode just on that. Let's
bro.
put a pin in it.
Anyway, what I learned by just trying that is that, like I was a BDR, right? And a BDR
Yeah.
is right. Here's every day. Here's my KPIs. Come to work early,
Yeah.
8 a.m.
For the people that don't know, what's a BDR and a
Oh yeah,
KPI?
sorry. So basic B2B sales, right? A BDR is a business development representative.
Yep.
Typically, the responsibilities are outreach, manual outreach to businesses, decision makers, gatekeepers, whatever, to try to find a person that is willing to join an evaluation of your technology, right? They don't have to, you're really just trying to start the process and qualify whether or not they'd even be a good fit for whatever you do, right?
Right.
Well, the first BDR job that I got, they gave me a script. We went over it a couple of times. I worked for this guy named Jason McDonald. Not afraid to shout him out. The guy was a mentor. I followed him to 3 other companies. You know Jason.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Man, you know Jason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Jason hired me, and in the interview, he said, "So your buddy tells me that you're a rapper named Mean Matty Green." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah,
Thanks,
I am.
buddy.
I am." And he goes, "So you can spit? You can spit hot fire?" And I'm like, but can I spit hot fire? Yes, I can." He said,
Uh-huh.
"Okay, come in for an interview, whatever." Interview went well, whatever. He gave me a script, and he gave me like a license to Salesforce, thousands of leads for community colleges. My job was to call these admissions departments of community colleges and sell them a marketing technology that they could record an acceptance message and distribute that recording to a list of phone numbers that had opted in to receive news about their application to go to the college, right? 80 calls a day minimum, and or 2 appointments a day minimum. So if I got 2 appointments and it was only 20 calls, I still had to make the 80 calls, and vice versa. If I made the 80 calls, but I didn't have the 2 appointments, I had to keep making calls until I got the 2 appointments, right? Those are the only KPIs, right?
Wow. Okay.
And probably 4 other BDRs and me, and 2 was the daily quota. A lot of people were kind of struggling to hit 2 every day.
Yeah.
Within the first 2 months, I was slanging 8 appointments a day. I mean,
Wow.
every day. I called myself the man, the myth, the lead gen. I thought that was pretty clever at the time. Super
Yeah.
corny and cheesy now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
like, I was slinging it, dude. I was closing them. Not actually closing the deals, but just like, just give
Yeah.
me an hour and tell me when it is.
Priming the pump. Priming
Yeah,
the pump.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was the hype guy. And
Mhm.
yeah, anyway.
So was that your first foray into the sales world, account
Yeah.
executive sales world? Interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Matt, you are probably one of the best salespeople I've worked with, just in terms of like getting people to feel very relaxed when you talk to them. And I feel like that's a skill set that is very hard to master over the years because you have to have that resilience and the ability to handle rejection very well. And like I think a lot of the themes that comes up on this podcast is about rejection, right? Like you're going and you're trying to get that job and you may not get the interview or you may go through 3 interviews and you get rejected and that just goes over and over. How have you sort of framed conversations, especially hard conversations, so that you can actually like say, okay, like that one did work out. I'm gonna go to the next one and then the next one and then the next one and handle that rejection in a positive way where you could still move forward. Because I think like a lot of times people get stuck because they're like, I sent out 5 resumes or I called 5 people and everybody said no. So I don't know what to do now. But like you fine tuned that skill.
Yeah.
How did you sort of like do that over the years and what did that look like?
It's a great question. I wanna try to answer it in a, succinct way because I could probably give you 2 hours on that,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Answer
you
it
know what I
however
mean?
you think would be best. I would love to hear it.
Well, I'm happy to give you the extended version, the extendo whenever you want it, but, like, the quick answer that I think is really interesting, and where I'm at now, right? This idea that, like, I'm between titles and I'm creating new titles for myself every day. I'm trying to do this
Yeah.
fractional consulting thing, which is basically like the willingness to take on really any title fractionally,
Right.
as long as
Yeah.
I'm helping in a certain foray into what my skill set is. But
Right.
your question is a really good one. And like, I've scaled sales teams, I've hired a bunch of people, I've tried to mentor them as best I could. Sometimes I fucked it up. Sorry, I messed
Yeah,
it up.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
feel the same way with some of the stuff I've done for sure.
well, so uh eventually I realized that I should try therapy, and I got into therapy. And we really started to like explore some of these same questions, because like, there's a lot of things that you go through as a salesperson, no matter what your title is or what level you are or whatever, like sales can beat you down. And when
Oh
you're
yeah.
selling yourself in the interview process and you're trying to sell a reason why somebody should buy you, right? I mean,
Yep.
an offer letter is a purchase agreement in a
Right.
lot of,
Yeah.
right? What I learned is that like a yes or a no isn't really my goal. My goal is and when I say goal, the word I wanna use is ikigai. You're familiar with ikigai, really quick explanation. It's like the Japanese method of finding exactly what you're meant to do in life, like your purpose in life. And it's all these like interconnected Venn diagrams of like this category and blah, blah, blah. And in the middle is your ikigai, right?
Right.
My ikigai is connection. I want to connect with people. And whether it's a no or a yes, the only way I lose is if we failed to connect with one another, right?
Mm,
If I get a no or a yes, or it wasn't right, or you're not the guy, or better luck next time, or whatever it is, as long as I connected with the person and I really feel like I know this, you know,
right.
like we had a like moment where like we understood each other. If the answer is no, the answer is no. You know what I mean? You know, they're not rejecting me. They're rejecting the like situation we're discussing, right? But if we connected, I get a win. It's a W, right? And like I realized like that's everything. Sales is everything. Parenting is sales. Like every relationship you have is sales. Your interactions with my homeowners association is sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like that's what it is. It's transactional. Most of life and most of interactions between humans, they're transactional interactions, and that's okay. But like where it transcends that is when you really like have a moment and you connect with somebody. And that's special, and that's a W no matter what the outcome is, and so, like, that's the mindset that I go into a lot of these things with is like, does this connect with me? Is this me? Do I want this? And if
Hmm.
I don't, then I don't spend any time thinking about it or
Yeah.
caring about it or worrying why I got or is there a problem with me? Like,
Yeah. Um, I would love to dig into that a little bit more. Like one of the things as I'm doing these conversations, that I hear pretty often is, there'll be people that go through interviews and they feel really good about them. I've had this experience myself. Like you go in, you're like, oh man, we connected very well, had great conversation. I thought I did a good job. I thought I explained myself well. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, they passed me over, even though you thought you made a connection of
Mhm.
some sort. From your perspective, like, what would be an example of characteristics of good connections? Especially when the outcome isn't what you expect, right? Especially if you felt like it went well, but I got passed up for something else. Like, what would some of those characteristics be?
Yeah, I've got a really good set of examples from a company that I was just with, called Bold Orange. They're a customer experience
Nice.
agency in, Minneapolis.
Okay.
Incredible company, incredible group of people. They're all, like, good-hearted, Midwestern, honest, sincere, genuine people. They're talented, they're smart, they're good folks, and almost every interaction that I had with every single person that I worked with within that company was based and rooted in just being sincere and, like, real and, like,
Hmm.
happy kind of, and,
Right.
like, wishing people the best and doing the right thing, and, I mean, it was a really good vibe, like, they took care of people, like, they win all these awards every year for, like, best place, so I mean, it's not bullshit, it's not marketing, it's,
Yep.
like, real.
Yep.
Like, they're a great group of folks. I worked for a guy named Spencer Smith, um, for 2 years. Every interaction we had, every one-on-one we had, every scenario that I was strategic growth, so my job was to basically grow our Salesforce practice, oversee the partnership, understand how to, like, drive brand awareness that we are a partner that can take on certain types of project and consulting, like categories of what is inside the Salesforce ecosystem and what's peripheral to the Salesforce ecosystem that we could like expand into. So we bring them in with Salesforce and expand into their website and their, like their advertising and their live events and their, blah, blah, blah. But vice versa, right? Like we'd have customers that would come in for a website, and then all of a sudden we learn that they hate HubSpot. They want to switch over to Marketing Cloud. They don't know anything about it. And they need like a person on the back end that's not a Salesforce employee to just give them like be a coach really and like help them
Hmm.
understand like how they should buy, how you should evaluate this, how you should really structure your internal teams to support this project because most people don't do it that way and really like
Right.
guide them through that. That was really a big part of what I did. And we every single turn of like customer interactions and the pipeline that we created and the opportunities that we were forecasting and whatever that I was a part of, every time we talked about them, it was always like, what can we do to leave them with something good, even when they don't choose us? Because we are more expensive than all of our competitors.
Right.
We are the ones that are going to cost the most. You're going to choose us because you're going to love working with us. You're going to love every single time that you get on the phone. We're going to do the right thing every single time. We're going to tell you the hard news that you don't want to hear as soon as we possibly can so it doesn't fester. And it was just like a really good example where everyone around me was setting good examples of that. And I got to like benefit from it. And it was
Hmm.
really easy to model. Like, every good salesman learns to match and mirror. Being able to match and mirror an environment and a culture that's like that, it like it really fine tunes like how you can show up and just be a good person and then stuff will
Yeah.
work out for you. Like
Yeah.
that sounds delusional kind of because that's not reality for a lot of people, but like we're talking about delusion. You were talking about being
Yep.
delusional as an artist, and there's a fine line between hubris and what like that's thinking delusionally. Like, and it's a good place to be, I think, actually.
Um, Matt, tell me about when you decided to move to California, because I would imagine that was probably a big difference than where you were born and where you grew up, and now you're living on the West Coast.
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking? Sort of like, what was your mentality going into that?
We weren't permanent on the West Coast. We were just coming there, like, you know, throughout the year for little periods of time. We got married out in California. I mean, we really fell in love with the Orange County area,
Yep.
but we
Yep.
we never lived there. We always had a place in
Mm.
in Indianapolis, but we like the whole thing about California is that like all these opportunities just came to me. Like Jason
Right.
McDonald in particular left this company Vonto, the like cold calling job that I'm telling you about, right? Left that company. Vonto went under because they didn't get a round of funding that they needed. They couldn't float, whatever. They weren't profitable, so they just shut down. And uh, Jason calls me, and I'm like, "Hey, look, I got a couple offers. I'm going to be a BDR here. I'm going to be an AE there. Like, what do you think? Where should I go?" And he was like, "No, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to work for me. Please come to my house at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You can just wear like basketball shorts and whatever. I'll give you a
Yeah.
computer and a phone, and
Yep.
you're going to work for me." And the company's called Cario. We got like 14 people.
Yeah.
You'll work out of your basement. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you're going to work for me. I'm not interviewing you. I'll write up an offer. What do you want to get paid? At the
Right.
time, I was making 24K a year, and he offered me 36, and I was like, "Bro,
Right. Yeah.
clock it."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I know,
That's
I
hilarious.
know.
I mean, it does show you sort of the power of building good relationships.
Yeah,
And I did a video segment on the hidden job market and the power of the hidden job market. It's like stuff that people don't post that they need. And most of the jobs that you actually end up getting are through relationships, like people people you've worked with. And it sounds like throughout the years, that's sort of been a big deal for you and sort of the places you've jumped from and to.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The relationships I've brought with me every single time have been amazing, and they're all unique in like the different ways that those relationships started. Like some of them are, like think about all the people you've ever worked with. Sometimes they were your boss, sometimes you were their boss, sometimes you were peers,
Yep.
sometimes like you just like worked in the same building and
Yep.
ran into each other you know what I mean? And all of them are really interesting. It's the ones that like last where you just stay in touch and
Hmm.
you hear from that person or you reach out and they respond, once or twice a year are the ones where like you think, man, we should talk more. Like I should call this guy more, you
Yeah.
know? And then you don't, you just like send each other weird
I
DMs
know.
on Instagram or something every couple weeks and you
Right.
know, but
Right. Right.
I don't know. I think it's a good reminder. Just bringing it up at all in the context of this conversation is a good reminder to reach out to those folks because I guarantee we all have somebody that we used to work with that we just, if you called
Hmm.
on it, you would just pick right back up where you left off. And you
Yeah.
should,
No,
you should,
I,
we
I,
all
I
should.
agree. Yeah. Life just gets in the way of so many things, but, you spend probably more time on your phone randomly scrolling on things than it would take you to make a phone call, right?
Yeah,
Like, um, uh, Matt, I want to talk a little bit about skill sets and sort of how you've grown them. So, like, you go from being this audio engineer to then being a single salesperson, for lack of a better word, a single contributor, and then you're at Cario, and you guys are growing quickly, or we were growing quickly, got a bigger sales team. Take me through sort of the motion of going from an individual contributor being sort of like the person you were the only person you're responsible for to now having to understand how to grow sales teams. Like, what
yeah,
is that like? What does that look like?
yeah. I've had a bunch of interactions and meetings and opportunities to have this same conversation with younger reps, less experienced folks that were coming up, people that I had the opportunity to just like train up a little bit and
Right.
give them some things to think about when they were first becoming salespeople. Um, and the same thing that I tell them is what I try to do myself when I try something new. Like I try a different position, a different part of the industry, a different service line, whatever, is that like you gotta stop thinking and just start doing things because you're just gonna fail, and you're gonna fail no matter what, and you can't s y there no matter how hard you study, the first 10 times you do something,
Yeah. Sucks.
it sucks. So you just,
Yeah.
like, get through the 10, it like, I read this thing that, like, if you knew that it took 30 failures for you to be successful, how excited would you be to fail,
Right.
right?
Not excited.
I mean, just, like, if you know that all you have to do is just keep going
Yeah.
and do it over and over again, eventually it's going to work.
Right.
That's that's pretty true for basically everything, right? So I used to show this clip on YouTube of this movie with Tom Cruise called The Last Samurai, and
Oh yeah, I've seen
he's
that.
like a
Yep.
drunk and he's like held captive in this like Japanese town, right? And he's like watching all these people learn how to sword fight, and he wants to learn how to sword fight too. So he goes out there and he's got this like bamboo sword. And he's trying. He just keeps getting whooped every time, right? And this, other character, maybe a younger character, he says, hey, too many mind. He says, you mind the people watching, you're minding your sword, you're minding your opponent, and you're thinking. He said it differently, but like you're thinking about all these things at once, and you're not just like present on what's happening, right? And singularly focused on what's happening right now, right? And that's like selling. That's exactly like selling. You're in a combative conversation. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's amazing when it's not that way. And the person just loves you. And it's like an older lady from Mississippi who's got a real sweet heart and wants to talk to you, and you guys like each other and she buys and it's perfect, right? But it's not always like that. And so when you're having that conversation, you're trying to figure out like what's this person's pain? What do they care about? What's their problem? Do I even have a solution that's going to fix this problem? Right? Like you have
Hmm.
people like don't listen. They wait to talk. And when I think about like sword fighting in that scene, what that person was trying to tell them is listen to what's happening.
Yeah.
Listen, right? And like that's what I try to do. Anytime that I try something new, I'm in a new position. I'm talking to a customer that's talking about something I've never, and I've got to like look like I know what I'm doing. I just listen really well, and that usually helps.
Yeah. I mean, it's exceptionally hard to just be present and just do one singular thing, especially
So
with
hard.
all the technology we have and all the stresses we have and all those things that we have. Um, what are some things that you think from your experience helps you be more present and really sort of like fine tune that craft of listening and understanding?
I think it starts with recognizing that you're not doing it. Like finding yourself in a moment where you realize that you're not doing that. And the confusion you're feeling, the stress you're feeling, the like, this is an emergency and I've got to solve it right now. And a bear is chasing me and I've got to wash my hands and I got to close the fridge before it beeps. And it's like that happens. And I get that way too. Right. But
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
I notice, I'm aware that I'm not in that place of I'm not present. And like more that I can remember to like recognize that I'm not present, even if I can't really get there, even if I don't have the space and the time and stuff, it actually really is urgent and I gotta whatever. And at least I know that like the problem that I'm having right now is that I'm not present. I can't be present right now and that sucks, but like what's happening right now and the stress that I'm feeling and the pressure and like my veins popping out of my neck is because I'm not present right now.
Yeah.
And
I love that. I love that, especially like when a lot of the structure of our day, because the work is not there. Like work inherently gives you some structure, right? It's like you clock in, you have meetings, you do some work, you clock out, then you do the next thing. Well, like once that goes away, it becomes a lot harder, and you have to be more disciplined to put that structure in place because nobody's gonna tell you like what
yeah,
the fuck to do besides maybe your partner, right,
yeah,
and your kids. But
yeah,
other than that, like, yeah,
yeah,
it's up to you, man.
yeah.
It's up
And
to you.
my clawbot is going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucking amazing. Matt, tell me about fatherhood and, growing your universe to beyond yourself. Like, what did that initially look like for you? Was it intentional? How did
Yeah,
that happen? I mean, I
yeah,
know
yeah.
how it happened biologically, but
Sure,
how did that happen
sure.
for you?
Yeah, I think my wife and I were ready. We knew we were ready. We went on a vacation to France and Italy. It probably sounds like I'm trying to purposely bring it up somehow to like just talk about it because that's what people do when they go to France and Italy. But like,
Yeah.
you know, like warning, like douchebag moment, right? So we were in Italy, right? And like we came home with a third person, and that was so cool, dude. That was 2018.
Yep.
My son was born in May 2019. Mason is
Mhm.
awesome.
Nice.
He's creative.
Nice.
He's smart. He's too smart. He's too smart.
Right.
But he reads.
They
He
always are, man. They're like, even my kids, I always feel like they're sharper and more in tune to things than I was when I
oh,
was their age. You know what I'm saying?
it's also like the recall. Like they listen to everything, and then all of a sudden they'll like weave it into their language, and you realize that they listen to everything you say. You know,
Yeah.
and like they immediately know, like what you mean. It's very cool to see how they learn language and like slang and turns of phrase and humor, like dad jokes and puns. Like puns are really funny to me.
Yeah.
And like I'll catch a pun and I'll say I'll, whatever. I'll make a little like stupid joke and like
Yeah.
nobody laughs but me and it's, I don't know.
It's all good. That's all good.
But they're great though, dude. Like there's like lightning from Zeus, dude. The puns that I
Yeah.
bring up. But my son is starting to like get it. He like and he
Right.
like he listens to like my tonality, and I like say it in a certain way, and he picks it up. But I don't know. He's cool. He's creating all kinds of cool stuff. He's a creator. We can tell. You know, he's
Right.
he's he's playing basketball, but he's not playing basketball. If that
He's going through the motion.
That's all right though. He's having fun. He's out there. He's doing, he's smiling.
Oh,
So
man.
that's good.
That's
But
great.
my daughter has just like absolutely like changed my world, man. Like my daughter is just the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I mean, like I love my son and by all means, dude, like I'm not trying to like say that she's my favorite, but like everybody in my life tells me that she's my favorite and I need to like chill out because she's like very clearly my favorite. And I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah, yeah.
like figure that out because um
Yeah, we're gonna
I
send
don't
this
know that.
to, Mason in 10 years. I'm gonna send this to you, buddy.
He knows. He can feel it. I gotta do better. I gotta do better, you know. But
What has fatherhood changed about you just in terms of your perspective of what work means and what a career is?
yeah, man. Parenthood is a really cool opportunity to look at it like a mirror. And I've really looked in the mirror a lot being a dad because you feel certain things, you want certain things, you tell them certain things that they should think or not think or whatever. And it's really kind of like it's not always necessary. Like, like they can figure out stuff for themselves sometimes. So like, it's like, why do I have to be the one who decides what they think about this thing? That's probably weird. I don't know if that's vague or confusing, but like, I'm really looking in the mirror a ton, man. And like, I quit drinking. I lost 50 pounds in the last,
Yeah,
6 months,
congrats,
7
dude.
months. Yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm trying to run. I'm 40. I just turned 40 and I'm just like
Yeah,
really,
congrats.
like, I'm really like in this place where I want my kids to see me and we're growing up together. Like
Yeah,
I'm still growing up and they're growing up and we're doing it together. And I want them to like have a good example of humanity from me and not have to like tiptoe around my flaws and my bad habits and my laziness and my complacency and my what pessimism and my like that like those are my problems. Those don't have to be their problems,
right.
and so it's like I'm it's a really cool like journey that I'm trying to step through of like being a cool person for them, and
Mhm.
that's my responsibility, you know and so anyway, that's dadhood.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Just in terms of, being a dad now, it gives you a different set of, circumstances and requirements, and in some ways, it restricts your ability to do maybe crazy things that you would have done in your 20s, right?
Sure.
Like, you can't go and work 18-hour days, 12-hour
Yeah,
days, just because there's another human being waiting for you on the other side of that. Um, but right now, I see you're doing a bunch of different things, just, different business ideas, different
yeah.
technologies you're trying to adopt. How have you sort of balanced the need for being a good dad, like you were talking about, with the creativity that you are expressing through a lot of these other initiatives? And, um, how do you balance that out in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, I think it just happens. I don't know if I have any strategy or plan or, like, process or method. I think I'm just more I just enjoy being around them, and so when the opportunities come in my schedule and in my day to, like, lock in and be dad and be with them, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of the business ventures and ideas and whatever, like, I've just really, really adopted, AI in ways that I'm trying to, like, better art or find a way to articulate so that I can explain this to other people because I'm
Hmm.
doing 10 different things fractionally for myself, and
Hmm.
I'm exploring all these different tools. I have all of these different, like, Instagram accounts and, like, folders and projects and Claude and,
Yeah.
obviously, like, Gemini and ChatGPT, but I'm also using Manus for Meta. Manus is sick. Manus is amazing, dude. It's not I don't think a lot of people are using it yet. But, like, I can build a website in 30 minutes. I can build
Hmm.
a landing page that's perfect in less than that, right? Based on, like, the brand that I'm creating. Like, I'm doing a lotta, like, things that are being done for me while I go do something else, because
Right.
the systems will just burn tokens and complete tasks over 2 hours, and then I'll go check back in 2 hours and open it back up, and it's all done waiting for me to decide what the
Yeah.
next thing is. And so I'm just doing that, I'm like, I'm shuffling around or whatever. I'm trying all these things, and then throughout that, I'm like, I go to the gym I have a pretty structured routine. Like I wake up, I do, get the kids up when, my wife and I kind of trade off on that day by day. I go to the gym, until about 10. I go to the, public library in my town. It's beautiful. It's really nice. They got a digital media lab with,
Oh,
like,
wow.
recording booths, a video room. They got 6 3D printers. They got 12 workstations with Mac minis and just I mean, it's, like, beautiful standing desks, um, coffee shop right outside the door with
It sounds like a free WeWork.
Yes. Yeah, but
Dang.
better,
Wow.
because there's also, like, digital media lab employees there that are subject matter experts on anything, like, you know, so that I mean, they're just there to, like, help anybody use anything. And so
Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
it's it's so, it's really actually, like, delete that whole clip because I don't want more people coming there. You know what I mean? Like, it's right now,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
a thing that nobody really knows about,
Yeah.
um, but it's incredible. And my taxes pay for it, right? And
Yeah.
so, anyway.
Dang,
But
that's
I work
awesome, man.
there for most of the day. I get home at, like, 3. I check in with my wife, Jamie, see what the day's like, whatever I gotta do. If there's, like, household stuff I gotta do, I do it then. If there's I gotta run an errand, drop some stuff off to ship it, whatever. Um, I'm learning, like, coding language now, so when I say ship something, I mean, like, I'm shipping stuff, like,
Yeah.
you know, like a
Yeah.
coder says. I'm a coder now. Not really, I'm not, but, like, I manage a gang of coders that you know
Yeah. Programmatic coders.
Right, right. But anyway, I'm trying to, like, pretend I'm a you know anyway.
Man, I love that hustle, and one of the things that I actually love the most about it is that you have this almost the exact opposite of an engineering degree and experience.
Yes.
Um, and now you're sort of like pushing yourself to experiment with things that are very new. Um, Maybe for the people that are listening, tell me about some of the things that you're experimenting with in terms of technologies and businesses, and what that looks like, and what you would hope it would achieve for you? Like what would be the ideal outcome of some of these endeavors?
Sure. How do I make this not sound crazy and unorganized and manic and
Hmm.
and like,
I don't
you know,
know.
uh, so like I was at Salesforce for 6 years, ran a lot of huge contracts, like 3, 2, $3 million contracts and
Yeah.
pretty complex ecosystems and environments. Once I left there, most of what I did was I helped triangulate between customers and consultants that were building and managing these environments for the customer, and then I'd sell it, and basically I just renew their contract and try to add 20% or whatever, and then I do that 5 or 6 times, and that was my quota. Well, I went to Bold Orange and, really is a great fit because Bold Orange needed to build and really scale a Salesforce practice that they had acquired. They acquired a
Mm,
small Salesforce partner that was specializing in marketing cloud. They're really good. They were local to St. Paul, Minneapolis area. But once they acquired that, they lost a couple people. It just didn't take off after the acquisition. And so I came in to grow that and scale that. And we killed it, like killed it. And it's just me being lucky. Like it wasn't me. I just showed up and tried, and it all worked.
it
So
just yeah.
so anyway, but I learned what I learned. I had never been a consultant before, and what I learned is
Mm,
that like economics, the like financial model of how a consulting business functions, right? And crazy amount of like just growth and understanding of like that side of the market. And then I started to
yeah.
realize that like a lot of these people that we're working with have the ability to be fractional. Like they can take on a side contract at any time. And a lot of these people
Right.
that we were working with were doing that. And
Right.
so, uh, I got to a point where I wanted to kind of like take some time for just myself and my family and just kind of step back and really like rethink what I wanted to do because like what ended up happening is I just wasn't trying hard. I just wasn't like I wasn't doing the stuff that I knew I could do. And I was in my own way, and I don't,
Yeah.
I needed to like kind of reset. Yeah, um I think after years, a decade of being a traveling, like, enterprise level, high pressure sales guy that had to hop a flight several times a week and
It's a
entertain
grind, man.
customers and schmooze and go to $1,000 dinners and drink whiskey until 3 AM, like, I became a guy who ate huge dinners and went and drank whiskey until 3 AM because I had to, you know what I mean? Like, I had to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
that
part
was
of
the
it.
job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a decade of that, I just got run down, dude. I was like 240 pounds. I wasn't sleeping well. I just wasn't healthy, man. And like, there's a lot of that like I wasn't working out. I wasn't running. I mean, just nothing. Right. And my testosterone was low. Whatever, like just, I just didn't feel good. When you don't feel good physically, it's super hard to be in a mentality of like hunger and growth and
Yeah.
what's
Because you're
next.
just trying to survive
I'm
for the
just trying
next
to
thing.
like get through the
Yeah.
day so I can go to bed and go to sleep and wake up the next day and then make it through so that I can go to sleep again, you know? And I got really good sleep, sometimes, but I'd be waking up at, 11, I'd be waking up at 2, I'd be going to, the bathroom at 4 AM, and then I'd be on my phone from 4 AM to 7, just, reading the news and playing chess and checking my email and I don't know. And I just it was me, it was me. It was me. The problem was me. And, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out to your podcast is that like, all these people are that find themselves in this phase, and no matter how they find themselves there, whether it's voluntary or involuntary or whatever, something happens to them in life and they're forced to leave their job because of a whatever it is, right? Like, it's just this tremendous opportunity to slow down and, like, look at yourself and, like, if you got something that you can, that change or, like, address or, like, acknowledge and be vulnerable about and just admit to yourself that, like, you're not living life the way that you could be, like, it's there's no better time than this time, right? And,
Mhm.
like, we were talking about being present a moment ago. There's no better time than right now, dude.
So how did that sort of like transition into the things you're doing now, like the series
Yeah.
of things you're doing now?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, when I left Salesforce, we were launching Agent Force. We were using Slack and all these, light agentic ways,
Right.
summaries of meetings, follow-up emails, stuff like that, that were not really autonomous, but the beginning of, like, what we were trying to figure out how to use AI in a business way. At Bold Orange, I was dealing with a lot of, like, data cloud projects and, we were really thinking about data and how it could support all these different ways that it could be used that people hadn't really, like, thought of yet, because the AI and the technology around it and the models that were being really, like, updated constantly were just like all this new stuff would be available, and the learning curve is hard because people are still, like, spinning from the thing that was 6 months ago, and like, you know they waste so much. No, it's not wasted time. Let me rephrase that. They invest so much time trying to figure it out and messing around with it and coming up with different and experimenting and trying stuff that, like, they get frustrated, it doesn't work, and then they, like, they start to, like, poo-poo AI. They're like, "Oh, no, 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 AI can't do that. Oh, I know when that's AI. I can tell if something's written by AI. I go
Right.
on LinkedIn every day and I read everybody's post, and it has the, like, sentence format of, like, it's not this, it's that. It's
Yeah.
it's not just, whatever." And, like, okay, whatever. But like there's a tremendous opportunity to, like, just mess around and experiment. I got a coding buddy that I like, best friend. I've been, guy that I've known since I was in first grade. Grew up in Fortville, same story that I'm talking about. Kind of a hillbilly kid, but he's like a coder, and he's like an AI. He builds AI models, and he's like, "Dude, right now you're in something we call explore and exploit. You're exploring all of these different things, all these different, like, formats of whatever and business model. And I got a YouTube channel. I got a
Mhm.
I got a children's book. I got a platform for lonely elders that they can just connect with other people, and then I wanna spin that into, like, a companionship in-person service where human companions that are just good people like that. The interview process is going to suck because we're going to have to find, like, literally actually purely good people, like, like, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I want to, like, deliver this, like, companionship solution for these lonely people, dude. And it's not just seniors, man. Like, there's these lonely people all over the world, like veterans, people that are self-secluding and they're hermits, right? And, like, they're lonely. It's a comorbidity. Like, literally, it is a studied scientific way for you to kill yourself is to just isolate and be lonely, and you will die way faster than if you just have a buddy, right? Like, if I could solve loneliness with humans, like pure, good, soulful humans, but build an AI platform underneath it that supports, like, interactions, documentation, like, helping their family stay engaged when all the family lives all over the place. Like, that's exciting. I'm building that. Like, I coded a 90s style AOL chat room app and integrated it with my website in 2 nights, uh, using Manus, and it
Wow.
works. I mean,
Wow.
it's in, I wanna, like, it obviously needs a lot of work. Like, it's not
Right.
done, but, like, it's cool, and it looks old and vintage, and, like, so a boomer that's, like, 70 remembers
Yep.
AOL. They remember it. They
Yeah.
remember when they got into their first chat room, and it was kinda cool, right?
Yeah.
Uh, there's something pure about it because, I'm not doing, like, emojis, no GIFs, you can't turn on your camera, it's you know what I mean? It's anonymous, really, I mean, a lot of anyway, uh but besides all that, like, what I've done over and over and over again for every company that I've either worked for directly or I've worked on behalf of as a consultant or an advisor or a salesperson, frankly, is go-to-market optimization. And so I've got a consulting LLC that is just go-to-market optimization. It could be AI, it could be whatever, it could be just me showing up fractionally couple hours a week and just sitting in on your leadership meetings and leadership calls and giving you coaching and just say, "Hey, look, no, that's gonna work. Or that's not gonna work." Or, like, what people aren't telling you is this. I've interviewed these 7 people and they're afraid to tell you this, right?
Uh-huh.
And, like, people need that. People need, like, real, like, help getting everybody on the same page and working as a
Right.
team, there's no better place to do that than people that own huge Salesforce contracts because it's a mess. Adoption is low, everything is bad, everything needs to be upgraded, and then they gotta renew their contract for 20% more, and they're using 10% of it, you know?
Yep.
Like that anyway, I lost my train of thought, but I'm doing so many things, um, that, like, agentically there's all these micro problems that can be solved that I don't ever have to actually do or think about. And the more that I realize that I need to take myself out of this equation because my human brain is stupid. Like I'm dumb compared to all of these agents, right? And like, if I just stop telling it what to do and making the decisions and ask it to make the decisions and explain to me what decision it's made so that I could just learn, like I feel like I've been telling some of my buddies that I've been talking to every day that like just make fun of me. I get like my group chat, high school friends that just it's nothing but ridicule and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
making
I
fun
love
of me.
this.
I send gifs of Neo getting the like cord stuck in his
Yeah.
'cause that's what I feel
Yep.
like every day. I'm just like I'm
Yep.
locked in, I'm just like downloading information every day. I used a
Oh,
terminal
man.
time a week ago.
Wow.
Like
That's
anyway,
crazy, man. That's
yeah,
crazy. Matt, I wanna, 2 things here. I know we're getting a little close to time, but, I wanna circle back to the statement that you had made about when you were, an aspiring rapper and you started to go down and delete all your profiles online, like your MySpace and
yeah,
whatever else you had, YouTube videos. Um Is there a point that you're at now? Because that scrubbing, to me, that scrubbing of that information is in some ways sort of like removing parts of your past
yeah,
intentionally.
yeah,
Is there any part of you now with this transition where you feel like you're at maybe that same point where you're like, I wish I had the ability to remove these things in my past, or I wish I had the ability to go and maybe change up some of these things in my past so that I can be at a better footing for future opportunities? And if so, what would some of those things be?
yeah. Great question. I would love to tell myself that I don't have any regrets. And if I even now, as I try to think about what my regrets would be, like there's this voice in my head that's telling me, like, nah, man, like, no, like, no, why do you, you're, I'm in a good place, man. And like when I think back at that, right, the question is, you know, do you regret if you would have done this differently or whatever, and it's holding you back from something? I think the opposite all the time. Because if I didn't do this, then I wouldn't have worked there, then I wouldn't have been at Cario, then I wouldn't have met my wife, then I wouldn't have had my
Yeah.
son, then I wouldn't have met my daughter. And like I believe, whether it makes me less credible or not, I believe without question that all of that stuff had to happen so that I could meet my daughter. My daughter has to live and be a human being in this world. And if any of that stuff had gone wrong or gone different or worked out or whatever,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
like I've got all these visions of like the movie Back to the Future with Marty McFly, and he's like, like running around with his puffer vest and like getting into trouble. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to change this. I don't want to mess up this. I don't know, man. Like I just I know not everybody feels that way. And there probably are people that hear that question that you ask and they immediately think of those things. Oh man, if it would have, if I just would have caught that pass in that football game, like, dude, googly woo. Like, whoa. Like, what?
I know. I feel you. I feel you. Um, Last two questions, Matt.
Yeah,
Uh, if you're if you had to explain what you do now to a future employer, how would you describe yourself?
sure. It's really hard to do because I'm such a like practiced salesperson that the answer to that question would be unique and personalized and different for every conversation that I would be
Okay.
in. There is not an answer to that question other than the unique answer that appears when the question is asked when it matters, right? Like I don't have an answer to that question until I'm in a situation where I have to come up with that answer because I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like it's actually like really a gigantic advantage to be able to be flexible enough to
Hmm.
describe what I do in whatever different way I need to describe it to my advantage, right? And that's not lying, that's not, like, making up, like, things that aren't real, but it's creating a description that's able to, like, describe a different type of existence. This is really deep. Are you familiar with Soren Kierkegaard?
Hmm.
Soren Kierkegaard was this, like, Dutch I actually don't know where he's from, but, like, let's say he's from Holland or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it.
So somewhere like that, right? And he was like one of the first existentialists, philosophers, and he wrote all this stuff about how like you can't really name something. If you, as soon as you name something and you call it something and you label it and you like give it a like explanation of or a definition of what this is, you negate it because it could be all these different things. Like
Right.
if you
That makes
describe
sense.
something as one thing, you're leaving this unrecognized halo of things that I am also this, and I also do that. Oh, and I also have these 6 talents, and if you need a rap song and a 16 that knocks your
Right.
socks off, I'll have it to you in 10 minutes, right? But I can't tell somebody that until I know what they need. I need to connect
Right.
with them. I need to use my ikigai, connect with who they are, understand what they need me to be, and then I show up and I say, "I can be that or I can't." If I can, I'll explain to you how, and I'll explain to
Yeah.
you how much that costs.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Last question, Matt. Fast forward this 20 years, whatever platform we're watching this on, your kids stumble upon it.
Yeah.
Somehow they do a
It'll be
search for
scrubbed by
you.
then, dude.
Who knows, man? It could be number one on the internet by then.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you hope they take out of our conversation today?
That I love them so much, and if they're watching this in 20 years and we're not together and they're not seeing me and hearing from me several times a week, we messed up, and we gotta come back to some way where we can be locked in, okay? And I don't care what they're doing, where they are, what's gone wrong, whatever, like, I'm your dad, and I will always love you, always. So, please play this in 20 years and call me. Like
Oh man, I love that. That's a great way to wrap up our segment, my friend. Matt, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming and sharing your story, man. I wish you the best.
man, I really appreciate having the opportunity to be on this. I love the conversation.
Yeah, me
You have
too.
any other, like, whatever, times where you need, like, a 3rd guest on a panel or something, and you want a guy to
I
coming
may
in
take you up on that
please, dude,
Claudebot thing,
please.
dude. I
Please don't
may take you up on the Claudebot. That might be a special
side
episode.
project?
Yeah, we'll see how that
Alright,
goes. All
alright.
right, my
Yeah.
friend. I'll talk to you later. See
Alright,
ya.
thanks, man.
All right,
Bye.
bye.